This is Council President Mike Sareini, and I'm joined this morning with Chief Isa Shaheen from the Dearborn Police Department, and we're talking about a new program, relatively less than a year, to keep our streets safe and our residents safer. It's a drone program. I know people have drones, but these are a lot different for the police department. Can you give us some example of what's going on with this drone program?
So we acquired a large drone that we're able to use to help keep the community and our officers safer out on these streets. Not only do we have the drone, but we have a vehicle that we're able to put it in the rear of, a nice F-150, so we can deploy it in a moment's notice.
Great. So the drone, for example, like the operators that have to operate it, I mean, what kind of training do they have to go through, and how does that work? How's that going to help our residents in the long run?
So the drone is out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, around the clock, and the individuals that have the drone with them are all FAA licensed drone operators, and we have one on every shift. So that drone is able to deploy at a moment's notice for a lost child, or if we should have a suspect that's out on foot, if we need to use it for an accident reconstruction. It's top notch.
Excellent. So getting back to the accident scene, I think this is very helpful because a lot of people know how much time it takes for a road to be shut down, for pictures to be taken, and so on and so forth. The drone can actually do a lot of this and save us a tremendous amount of time to open that road back up. Is that correct?
So absolutely. When we have a large accident scene, it's able to kind of give you a bird's eye view of what's happening, so we can manage that quicker. We can use it at a fire scene so that the firefighters get an opportunity to see what's happening on a roof and how expansive the fire is. Imagine if you had a fire at a large building, all the firefighters can see is what's in front of them.
That's it.
So that drone allows them to see that footage as well.
We also have that using for active shooters in situations where the officer are trying to pinpoint where someone's at a location. The drone will give them a much better, and the live feed will allow the officers to see.
We had an individual at one time that was armed with a knife in an apartment building window, and we perched the drone right outside the window and gave us an opportunity to see what's happening in that apartment. So it just has so many uses. We have not just—
And it's still growing.
Yeah, well, not only do we have this large drone, but we have a smaller drone that we can fly into houses and give us an opportunity to see what's happening before we put officers in harm's way.
We are here with Sergeant Erbriel, and thank you, Sarge, for being with us. You are in charge of the drone operation. You're FAA certified. Safety is #1 for our residents, and we have to keep up with technology. I mean, we got to have the best technology there is so we can keep our citizens and residents safe. And I know that we have funded a lot of new projects, but this one here I thought was really worth talking about because it's less than a year old.
Yep.
The chief is indicating that it's something that not many departments have one of these drones.
No, thankfully we've been on the cutting edge with support from people like you, our chief, the city in general, our citizens. We've been able to stay on the cutting edge of drone technology. We have a full team that can deploy. We have multiple drones. A lot of other departments are still starting their drone program, so we're kind of a step ahead of that.
It's always good to be a step ahead.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we had our parade recently, and there was the drone flying around. So can you tell us what use did that have, like on these big
Sure.
events?
So any major event that has a high risk of liability for public safety or anything like that, our drone will do overwatch. Our drone will also do a site survey prior to the event.
That's great.
It's great for detecting stuff that you can't see from the ground level.
Yeah,
so,
people on roofs.
correct, yeah.
So on and so
Check
forth.
the roofs, around garbage cans, things like that. You'll see our bomb team out there doing the same thing, but this gives them a different perspective.
So it also, of course, the zoom is very important, and it has thermal. What else can it do? The chief had mentioned that he could see inside of apartments and so on, get real close with the smaller one. What else could it do in the future that you foresee coming that could help our officers be safe and keep our residents safe?
So in the future, there's different things that we're looking at. This model here particularly has a water rescue option where it can deploy a raft. It can deploy like munitions for critical incidents where we have a barricaded gunman or something like that. Looking into the future, there's drones as first responders out there where drones will automatically go to a scene when the officers are dispatched there. They'll be able to get eyes on the scene prior to our officers going into that situation.
Absolutely.
It will cut down response time. It will give everybody kind of a clearer view of what's going on.
I really appreciate you taking the time, being certified by the FAA, and making sure that our residents are safer, and training a whole team. We have 13 officers, correct?
Yep.
That are trained, and there's always ready to go at a moment's
Correct.
notice. Absolutely. This is Council President Mike Sareini in this edition of Council in the Community.